The day that many of you have been waiting for is finally here. Say hello to the new Alpha 7 IV. And in this video, I'm gonna share everything that you need to know about this exciting addition to Sony's full-frame camera lineup. Welcome to Alpha Universe. My name is Miguel Quiles. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's get straight into this and cover the specs. The Alpha 7 IV features a 33 megapixel full-frame Exmor-R CMOS sensor, along with their latest generation Beyond's XR image processing engine. This is the same processor that was introduced in the Alpha 7S III and in the Alpha 1, which gives you up to 8 times the performance compared to the A7 III. The inclusion of the new processor brings with it some awesome autofocus features, like real-time IAF for humans, animals, and birds, with 759 phase detect autofocus points that cover 94% of the frame. Sony has also improved the AF tracking for continuous shooting up to f/22, which I tested during a series of portraits that we'll talk about shortly. The body of the camera takes various elements from the Alpha 7S III with some key differences. The A7 IV has a new dial setup, separating the mode dial with the shooting mode dial, which makes it really easy to adjust your shooting experience to fit your needs. On the back of the camera, there's now a little cutout next to the screen to make it easy to pull out the side opening articulating touchscreen. Compared to its predecessor, the A7 III, they've updated the joystick on the back to make it more tactile and added a custom function button that replaces the positioning of the video recording button, which is now located on top of the camera. Speaking of the top of the camera, the shutter dial has now been raised out of the body itself, which makes it easier to adjust your settings since you have 360-degree access to the dial. When it comes to inputs, they've now added a full-size HDMI, which replaces the micro HDMI that was found on the original A7 III. You still have your mic and headphone inputs, as well as USB micro and USB-C. The A7 IV has a dual CF Express Type A and SD slot, as well as a second SD slot to give you redundancy for your photo and video projects. On the video side of things, Sony has added 4K 60p recording in Super 35 format, along with 10-bit 422 all-intra recording in HD or 4K resolution. You'll also have the opportunity to utilize Sony's excellent S-Cinetone color, just like you have in the A7S III. I'm going to be doing a separate video going more in depth on the video features of the A7 IV, so stay tuned to Alpha Universe for that video. A few other things to note with the A7 IV is the added digital audio interface on the MI shoe, so that you're able to get high quality digital audio recording using some of Sony's new shotgun and lavalier microphones. You could also use the A7 IV as a webcam by just plugging it into your computer using a USB cable. And what's super cool with that is that you could even save the recording onto your SD card. This feature will come in handy for content creators since you could take your live stream recording and have a high resolution copy for you to edit later on. Something that you'll see on an Alpha camera for the first time is their focus map feature. Turning that on will add an overlay to your screen where you could see the amount of defocus and gradation around whatever the focus point is in your frame. The electronic viewfinder also sports a 3.68 million dot OLED screen with a high 120 frames per second refresh rate. If you're coming from using the A7 III, this upgrade makes shooting with the EVF feel a lot like using an optical viewfinder. It's something you'll definitely want to try out. I ended up using the A7 IV for some studio and location portrait sessions and was impressed with the autofocus performance. In many ways, it felt like my Alpha 1, where the tracking really holds onto the subject's eye as they move around. I tested this using the new 70-200mm f2.8 GM version 2 and their 50mm f1.2 GM lenses, and the performance felt every bit as good as their flagship camera. The ergonomics also made a long day of shooting portraits far more comfortable, and the touchscreen operation to review photos I had taken worked really well. Here's some of the behind the scenes footage from my portrait session and the resulting images for you to check out. This camera is packed with updates over the A7 III, which you can go more in depth and read about in the link in the description of this video. I'll be doing some follow-up videos using this camera, so let me know in the comment section if there's anything specific that you want to see, and I'll do my best to bring that content to you in the coming weeks. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you can stay up to date with everything that is happening in the Alpha universe. If you want to learn more about the A7 IV, we've got this great video here on screen for you to check out that should really help you out. See you next time.